Shalom, Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Kradash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. More than 1.8 million people in Gaza, that's close to 2 million people, are experiencing extremely critical levels of hunger. This report came out a couple of days ago, but why am I bringing it into the forefront now? Because this is a very dark and grim reality that's going to occur here in America, aka Babylon the Great. And many of you unrepentant jakes, and what do I mean by unrepentant jakes? You so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. We are the children of Israel. And should you remain unrepented, this is going to be your fate. And many of you are going to perish by way of starvation. The scriptures refer to it as pining away. Something I want you to pay close attention to is how the husbands and the fathers reacted when their wives and their children were trampled and or crushed to death by this crowd that was also rifling for food. This is going to be a harsh reality here. This is why we continue to give you these sorts of warnings, because it gets and it keeps the blood off of our hands. As a matter of fact, before I play this video here, let me grab a few precepts. Because in the book of Isaiah, chapter 62, verse 6, it tells us, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. We're always talking about these sorts of things. Ye that make mention of the Lord, and the Lord in all caps is Yahweh, keep not silent. We're going to continue to talk about these things over and over again. As a matter of fact, Yahweh Shai gave several clues that serves as indicator of the time of great tribulation that's going to come upon the whole earth. You have to keep this in mind. A time like never before is coming. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 11, and it reads, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. If you're unawares, a 7.0 earthquake took place in California, and also over the past day or so, there's been a myriad of earthquakes that took place in the Midwest. All right, continuing on. And famines, meaning a severe lack of food, water, or resources, and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Let's get one more prophecy, because the scriptures tells us to prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. Verse 5 is the point, but I'll start at verse 1 in 2 Ezra chapter 15 and read on down. And it reads, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. To prophesy means to say before it occurs, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. You have to keep in mind, we serve a power that it is impossible for him to lie. Okay, verse 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. We don't give a damn what anyone else says. We're going to continue to bring it out. Verse 4, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And for you unbeliever, unfaithful jakes, you are going to die by way of starvation. Verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, what else, Lord, and famine, and death, and destruction, for wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hopeful works are fulfilled. With all of that in mind, I want you to pay close attention to this news report here, because this is going to be many of you should you remain unrepentant. Seek the Lord now while he may be found. Let's get right into this.
These are the faces of hunger in Gaza, a crisis affecting hundreds of thousands of people in the besieged enclave, like this group of children at a soup kitchen in Khan Yunis, crushed by the crowd, pots clanging, begging for handouts. I can't breathe, says this girl as she's pushed against a metal barrier. Others cry in pain, their bodies squeezed by the sea of human misery all around. Arms lifted in the air. A girl is pulled out, losing a shoe on the way up. A United Nations assessment in October concluded that 1.8 million people in Gaza are experiencing, quote, extremely critical levels of hunger. Our team follows Samah back to her tent. She empties the little rice she managed to secure onto a plate. They tell us this will be all the family has to eat today. Her husband, Issam, displaced from Rafah, says he feels helpless.
مش قادر اطعمهم مش قادر اسقيهم.
I can't feed them. I can't get them water, he says. I prefer death to this.
You see the look in this man's eyes? He said he prefers death rather than this. And the scriptures prophesy that in the latter days men shall seek death and not be able to find it.
I can't do it. I can't do it, he repeats again and again. In central Gaza, a compact crowd outside a bakery, hundreds trying to buy bread. Little by little, the horde swells, and the swarm of people sways back and forth and from side to side, body against body. Shortly after these images were filmed, 3 women were crushed to death. 17-year-old Rafah was one of them. Her father, Osama, falls to his knees. It's enough, God. We are tired, God, he screams. For those left behind, the hunt for food will begin anew the next day.
And these people are still praying to Allah. I ask you a question. Where the fuck is Allah while damn near 2 million people are perishing? You must comprehend that the God of the Hebrews, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is doing this. Remember, he states, I kill and I make alive. I, the Lord, do all of these things. Let me continue on. There's a little bit more I want to pull out of this news story here.
The human rights group Amnesty International yesterday released a report accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza, saying it uses starvations, among other methods, as weapons of war.
Yes, that's what I wanted you to hear. They're using starvation as a weapon of war, and that will be used in these latter days. But for those of us who are of the hopeful elect, we have nothing to worry about because as the scriptures tells us, and we're going to loosely paraphrase this precept, for my servants shall eat. The Lord is going to take care of us, brothers. But let's get back into these prophecies here. We'll start in 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 21 on down, and it reads, Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth, because many jakes, especially here in America, Babylon the Great, they still have access to the damn 10 for 10 menu, and their mind is not focused on these prophecies, and they're unawares that evils and only evil is coming. Let me continue on. That they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, and what else, Lord? Famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of what, Lord? Famine, starvation, pining away. And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead body shall be cast out like dung. And there shall be no more man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. Let's come out of this here. And let's go to the book of 2 Ezra, and we'll start at the 12th verse. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 12 on down, and it reads, And Egypt, and what Egypt is referring to, America, Babylon the Great, because spiritually is known as Egypt, is also known as Sodom. And Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with plague, and the punishment that God shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fall through the blasting and hail, and with fearful constellation. Woe to them that dwell in the world. Salakia, woe to them, woe to the world, and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princesses. And the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride the cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. You have to consider, in the severe famine hasn't even kicked in already. Imagine what these people would do when they're completely out of food and they need to find anything in order to survive. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and their goods because of the lack of bread in great tribulation. You see, and this is why you have to seek the Lord now, so that he may have mercy on you and your household. Repent, because the time of destruction is drawing closer. Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.